Good evening, everyone, and it's really a pleasure to welcome all of you to the first edition of Freshly Baked at Legality. I'm Shubhesh Kanodia, product marketer at Legality, and with me I have today Siddhant Ramachandran and Anshul from the product team. Along with them, we have Supriya from our sales team. What is Freshly Baked at Legality and what you should expect from this particular web series? It's going to be a monthly webinar where we'll be showcasing all our product features. But what's in store for you with this? You will be the first ones to witness our new features in action. It's like, having front row seat to the future of digital documentation and not just product demos. We will delve deeper into how these products or rather features can help you unlock greater efficiencies and ROI for your unique use cases. And not just that, this is a golden opportunity to even speak with our product team directly and ask them why we do certain things or give them feedback if you have any feedback or request a feature if you need to. So with that, I guess I can get right into the agenda for today. We will be showcasing you three features and we will be discussing what, why, and how for all of these features. Towards the end of this showcase, we will also have a Q&A session wherein you can ask your question directly to the product team that we have on this call today. To do that, you can either send in your questions via the QA box or the chat. You can also raise your hand and we will give you mic access so you can ask your question. So I guess let's start. The first feature we wanted to showcase today is Aadhaar face sign. And as the name suggests, it allows you to do Aadhaar sign using your face. And it's quite simple, honestly. All you need is an Android device, it could be a mobile or a tab, and you need two apps installed on it. First of which is the Legality Helper app, and the second app you need is the UADI Face RD Services app. And if you're using biometric flows or doing biometric based Aadhaar sign, you might have already installed these two apps on your devices. And when you need it, just wanted to touch a bit upon that as well. Like this is extremely useful for assisted or branch led flows, wherein an agent is helping customer sign the digital documents. You can give them the device and all the customer will have to do is scan their face by following certain instructions on the screen. But before we show you the demo of how it works, I also wanted to, get into a bit why we made this particular feature. And as we all know, like Aadhaar has become one of the most popular modes of e-signing in India. However, the traditional modes have certain limitations. If you're doing OTP based Aadhaar sign, if the mobile is not linked to the Aadhaar, you can't send an OTP. So Aadhaar sign is not possible. If you're doing biometric or iris devices based Aadhaar sign, then you need devices. And these devices, they come with a certain cost and complexity, which ultimately delays your go lives. And there are also concerns, lately, which is why banks have also been sending instructions how to secure your biometrics. So what happens when all of these traditional methods don't work? First option is you switch to a non-Aadhaar type of e-sign, which might not work for your compliance. Second is, which is even worse, falling back to old school pen and paper process. And neither of this is ideal, right? And that's exactly why we launched Aadhaar Face Sign. So all your Aadhaar signers can do Aadhaar sign without resorting to a pen and paper process or non-Aadhaar options. So let's see how it works. And for that, I'd like to hand it over to Supriya.
Thanks, Shivesh. Thanks for the detailed introduction. And thank you, everyone, for taking out time and joining the very first session of Freshly Baked Vitality. The feature that I'll be presenting is like one of the most awaited feature and the most requested one because it solves for a problem that we've witnessed while we were actually doing the Aadhaar e-signs using the OTP method and the biometric method and the complexities Subesh just highlighted. That not everybody will have their phone number registered with their Aadhaar number, not everybody will have the biometric device. Even we've seen cases where clients do have biometric device, but it may not be uh, it may not be compatible with your devices or with your laptops, right? So there are certain cases where, or in fact, there are many cases where face sign can get you live as soon as possible or maybe solve for the problem that you've seen and get the Aadhaar settings done. And this is a very simple process. It takes about like couple of minutes once you trigger the signing link. the customer can use their Android devices and get the signatures done. So I'll be quickly demonstrating how FaceTime works by presenting my screen. So first, I'll present the screen to show you how you can trigger an e-sign link to do a face sign. So I've logged into the dashboard. I'll quickly add a document. This is in an API environment done automatically. Now I have uploaded this document. I'll click on next step where all I have to do is add the details of the signatory. So this is added. I've added their phone number also. In the signature type, since we are looking at Aadhaar face sign, I'll just select the Aadhaar face sign option. Let me just minimize this so you can see where the face sign option is. I've just enabled this. I'll save this configurations, click on next. This is our document. I'll click on send. So once the document is sent, it will be sent on WhatsApp or SMS or email, whatever mode of communication you've selected. Let me stop sharing here and I'll share the screen for my phone and show you how it looks on the customer facing side. It will look to the customer.
Okay, so the next feature that we wanted to showcase you before, after the demo for face sign, but unfortunately because of glitches with Zoom, we're not able to show that. So the feature we next is Aadhaar first. And as we spoke for Aadhaar face sign, traditional Aadhaar sign has its limitations and complexities. And because of these complexities, our clients have told us of instances wherein, field or branch managers, they've opted for a non-Aadhaar e-sign options that we made available to them over Aadhaar sign. And the reason is simple. Non-Aadhaar e-sign types, they're less complex and they're very easy to execute. For them, it's the path of least resistance. Simplest solution could be to disable non-Aadhaar e-sign types in your flow and give your agents the option to do only Aadhaar sign. But that means for signer who can't do Aadhaar sign at all, you will have to resort to pen and paper process. And that is exactly why you need Aadhaar first. I would now like to invite Anshul to first tell us a bit more about Aadhaar first and then give us a demo. Anshul, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shubhesh. Hi, everyone. I welcome you to the first ever session for Legality Freshly Baked. So, as Shubhesh mentioned, through this feature, we are enabling our clients to enforce Aadhaar as preferred e signing methods over the other available methods. We are trying to introduce that friction before so that the employees or the field officers are not directly opting for the easiest options like a virtual sign, but they are choosing Aadhaar sign, which is more enforceable and which is more preferred in this case. Here, the other options are shown to the user, to the signer, only when they have met the specified number of attempts for Aadhaar. And here in this feature, we are also allowing the sender to decide this order for subtypes within Aadhaar. But I'll explain all of that during the demonstration. So I'm presenting my screen. Hopefully, it's presented. Shubhesh, can you confirm once?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so I minimize this, yes. So as Supriya was showing, this is our dashboard. So I'll do the classic standard journey for legality, where I first need to upload a document. So I can either upload a PDF document or I can choose from a pre-existing template. So after adding a document, I move to the next step where I add an invitee. So here I need to select the signature types. So I need to select Aadhaar if I want to prioritize it. So I'll select Aadhaar. When I select Aadhaar, I see the options, subtype options, OTP, biometric, iris, and also face sign as Supriya was showing. So I can select the options that I want to be present. So let's say I want biometric and OTP as the available options, but I don't want iris. So once I've added, so for this demo's purpose, I've added Aadhaar and virtual sign as two options that are there. Now in the invitee level options, I can simply toggle this option on which says prioritize Aadhaar for invitee. If this is on, the invitee will see Aadhaar e-sign option first, and only after certain attempts have been met which are specified, other options are shown. So let's see what happens when I toggle this on. So this modal is shown. Herein, I see only the subtypes for Aadhaar within Aadhaar, which I had selected on that previous modal. So I had selected only OTP and biometric and not iris. So I only see those two options here. Along with that, there are two more columns. One is retry attempt and another one is order. So order is the sequence, the priority order. Let's say I, as a lending institution, want the signing first to be, so basically biometric is my preferred mode of signing. So I can give my priority order or sequence. I can specify this in this order column. So if I want biometric to be my first priority, I can give this order number 1 and assign OTP number 2. Now let's see what are retry attempts. So retry attempts are the additional attempts that a signer needs to make before seeing the next in order option. What does that mean here? A signer needs to go through this biometric journey at least once, because additional attempts are zero. So they need to go through this biometric journey at least once before they can ever see this OTP option. If I make this one, then an additional attempt. Basically, they'll need to go through this journey, biometric journey, twice before they can see this OTP option. So through this, you can manage the extent of friction that you want to introduce before the signer sees the next in order option. So this is where you can manage that. So this is all about it. You check this on. There are you can specify the order. You can specify additional attempts that you need to introduce, basically the friction, and you click on save. So now it's done. We have selected two e-sign types, which is Aadhaar and virtual, and even within Aadhaar, we have selected OTP and biometric, with biometric priority number 1 and OTP as priority number 2. So let's quickly send the document. This is the final step where you see where the signature will be displayed in the document. I click on send. So this completes my sending journey. So it is as easy. You can simply add the details and the invitee section. Now we'll see how the signing journey would look like. So first, I'm taken to this preview of the document. Here I can preview the document, and when I click on proceed, I'm only shown Aadhaar e-sign as option. I don't see virtual option as at here at all. So virtual will be shown only after those attempts are made for Aadhaar. So let's see what happens. So when I click on Aadhaar, I'll be taken to an authentication screen. So once I've done the authentication, as you can see, even within Aadhaar, I can just see biometric. I don't see OTP option at all because it was set at order number 2, and at least one journey attempt need to be made for biometric scan before I see OTP. So I go through worst case scenario so that you can see all the flows that can happen. So let's say as a signer, I clicked on biometric, clicked on proceed, agreed to the consent, and I sign the document. Now I'm taken to this ESP screen, and where I need to check the consent box and provide Aadhaar and complete the signing. But let's say for whatever reason, maybe my device is not getting connected, or there are some issues with the ESP, or my the signing device is not working. So all of that can lead to I am not signing through this. So as a signer, I would either cancel or close the tab. So if I cancel, I'm redirected back to the flow. If I cancel, I can come to the flow by clicking on the link again, the signing link that was sent. So let's say I click on cancel for whatever reason. Now let's see how the journey will progress. So here I'm again taken to the preview screen. I again only see Aadhaar as e-sign type. And within Aadhaar, I see now OTP and biometric both. So we don't take off biometric because its attempt have been made, because it is still the preferred method. But in addition to biometric, understanding that biometric might not be working for whatever reasons, we are now also showing OTP as a signing method. Let's say I go to OTP, I select OTP and I proceed. Now again I'm taking to an ESP screen. Now for whatever reasons, again I'm not able to, I didn't receive OTP, there were some issues with UIDI, or ESP was facing some issues with OTP. For whatever reason, let's say I was not able to sign, I either clicked cancel or closed the tab. Now when I click on the link again or I cancel, I'm redirected back to the preview screen. Here, this time when I do the journey, I see both the options, Aadhaar and eSign. And even within Aadhaar, I see the option for both biometric and OTP. So I can sign using all the options. I can use either of these options, and the preferred option is still there. But you can choose whichever option. So for a person to select virtual, there is enough friction that has been introduced into the system so that it is not getting selected by default, but user has to go through a certain level of journey. So they are encouraged to use Aadhaar e-sign over other methods, and even within Aadhaar the preferred subtype like biometric or OTP or face sign or iris scan. So just to complete the journey, I'll quickly select virtual so that the journey is completed. So this is pretty much it about prioritizing Aadhaar first. So back to you, Shubhesh. Thank you.
So just want to reiterate everyone, Aadhaar first, it will give you non-Aadhaar options only and only when all the Aadhaar types are already being tried. It is like a cascading route for each Aadhaar type that you've enabled. And once and only once each of those fail, you will get the option to do other types of e-sign. Acha, can you go to the to the next one? Thank you. So we'll just look at a bit more about what smart ESP switching is, and then we'll try to connect back with the phone and show you how FaceTime works. For smart ESP switching, I would like to invite Anshul again, and she'll tell us exactly what it is and why did we launch it. So Anshul, could you give us a bit more insight into it?
Yeah, thanks again, Shibesh. So, smart ESP switch is a smart way to automatically switch the priority of ESP service provider. So, what does that mean? As most of you would already know, that Leegality offers backup ESPs feature. So, just to recap what backup ESP is, let's take an example. Let's take a signer is signing using Aadhaar. So, Leegality offers multiple ESPs like Protean, NSDL, CDSL, etc. So, a signer who is going to sign using Aadhaar, they are taken to first ESP. Let's say that ESP, one ESP sitting at order number one, so they will be redirected to that ESP page. Now, let's say for whatever reason that ESP was not working on an optimum level, maybe the success rate is not as per desired levels, or there are some issues on their end, whatever is the case, if that is not working, if that flow is not working, next time when the signer goes through the journey, this time they are taken to an ESP which is sitting on order number two, and so on and so forth. So, this is how backup ESPs work. Now, earlier what used to happen was, though we have backup ESPs for a while, but whenever a case would occur that a certain ESP is not performing as desired, the success percentage is not meeting the required level, or the ESP is facing certain kind of issues at their end, then we would have to change this priority order, basically which ESP is sitting at which order manually, and we would do that by manual analysis of the reports that we get. So you might have also experienced in past that customers or your employees have raised this issue that this particular ESP is not working, and then you will have in turn raised that to your Leegality customer success manager. They would in turn explain and forward this request to our internal support teams, and then they will manually change the priority order. So we take such requests on priority. We try to solve that as soon as we can. But due to manual interventions, it sometimes lead to increased TAT and sometimes also impact the operations. Now we have changed all of that. We have made the entire system automated. Our system takes now intelligent decisions and dynamic decisions, and it keeps monitoring the success percentage and a lot of other parameters for all the transactions that are going on. So because of continuous monitoring and automatic switching, the entire TAT has been reduced to lowest minimum possible. At this point, I would also like to highlight one caveat point, that this only applies to ESP redirections for OTPs only, not for biometric and face sign, because these are device related journeys. For example, for biometric, there would be a certain device, and these devices have different types of integrations with different ESPs. So, making a switch, automatic switch, may lead to inconsistencies. So, we have not touched that part, but OTPs are where we have made all the changes. So that is pretty much about what this feature is about. But what does it mean for you? First, better conversion rate. As you can understand, when a signer is signing, they are automatically taken to the ESP which is performing the best. They are not. They don't have to redo the journey in order to not to get dropped. So the number of attempts that they have to make have been. So we are trying for one successful signing in one go. That's what our aim is. So with that, we are hoping for better conversion rate. Second, their experience would be better. Customer experience would drastically improve, as they won't have to see a error page or an issue page. They'll get the document signed in one go. Third, it would also reduce the downtime for your business. As in case an ESP is not working, you'll not suffer any kind of downtime, because you will automatically switch to the ESP that was working fine and is matching the required level for success. And lastly, but not least, no hassles for you. Earlier, you might have to deal with your customers in case the issue is coming, and then waiting for the issue to get solved. So all of that would not occur now. So we are hoping that it would also help us with this. One key benefit that I want to highlight is we are not going to just act on one client's request. We are monitoring all clients transaction, in the sense of its success ratio. If the success rate is fine for a particular ESP across the client, we'll be able to take intelligent decisions. So even if your transactions are certain number, but we'll be able to take intelligent decision basis which ESP should be on order number one and which ESP should be order number two, and so on and so forth, based on our general monitoring system. So that's pretty much about it. That's what we are planning to do with Smart ESP Switch. And yeah, back to you, Shubesh. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for that, Supriya. So just wanted to reiterate, earlier this was a manual process wherein you would contact your legality POC and they would manually switch your ESPs. But now, because it is happening automatically, first it saves you a lot of time, and second, you don't even have to worry about whether ESPs are working fine or not. It is all on autopilot mode now. So that means it's like your business doesn't stop even if ESP does. Uh, so we'll just try once more with the face sign demo. If that doesn't work, I'll show you a video. And what I'll do is, if you're interested, you can let your legality POC know, and they will set up a customized demo just for face sign for you. So Priya, Siddhant, is either one of you trying to join with the mobile?
Yeah, I'm trying to connect. In the meantime, are there any questions from the audience?
So we have two questions that we had received before the webinar only from one of our prospect or other client or prospect spoke. So one was, which ESP does face sign Aadhaar face sign work on, and second, does it support backup ESPs at this moment?
Okay, let me take that. So, NSDL has gone live with FaceSign. NSDL, now Protean, has gone live with it. Other ESPs are yet to embark on that journey. So, currently it is just available with NSDL. Since other ESPs have not gone live with it, so right now backup ESP option is not available for FaceSign. But as soon as they go live, we are already, so no development is required from our end, so we are ready.
Okay, we have one more question. Are there any hardware requirements for face e-sign? We have this question from Yogesh Sinker. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Yogesh. Anshu, would you like to take that up?
Sure. So basically, as you had mentioned, for biometric signing also RD service, and yeah, two applications are required to be including an RD service, and the similar requirements will be there for Face Sign. It's the only caveat point is you need an Android device to capture the face e-sign. So that is the only caveat point.
Okay, we did receive a couple of other questions. One is from Weber. Which are the other ESPs other than NASL? I'm assuming this is for face sign, Weber. I'll just give Weber the access to speak. Okay, he's confirmed for face sign. Yes, currently NAS. Sorry, yeah, currently it's only for NSDL Weber. Uh, GSW1, I'm not too sure. I'm sorry who you like who's the person behind it right now. I've given you mic access so you can ask your question in person.
Hello.
Hi, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask if there is any specific brand device that is required for the biometrics.
Siddhant, would you like to take that up?
Sorry?
And I'm just asking Siddhant if he'd like to answer your question.
Sure. Could you please repeat the question? Sorry, I was just setting up my FaceTime demo.
Not an issue. So my specific question is that do we have any brand or any specific product that will be required for the biometrics, or will any biometric device work?
Sure. So it's not that any biometric device will work. UIDI has a set of authorized biometric devices that you can use for fingerprint capture. So it has to be one of those approved devices. And there are multiple brands that are out there in the market. I believe the most popular one in the market is Mantra MFS 100. If you have biometric devices that you already use for Aadhaar KYC, then those devices are already pre-approved by UIDI, so they should also work for Aadhaar e-sign. But in short, it can't be any random biometric device. It has to be a UIDI certified device.
Thank you. Understood. I also had one more question. When we speak about the iris verification, I understand we can use our personal mobile phones or devices.
No, that's not correct. So even for iris, you need a specific device, which is UIDI approved. Again, the same vendors who provide fingerprint scanning devices also provide iris scanning devices. So you have to purchase those devices to use the iris authentication method. The only method that you can use in terms of biometric verification, which works directly from your Android smartphones, is the Aadhaar face sign,
The
which is
Aadhaar
face
face.
authentication. Yes, that's face authentication, which authenticates using your entire face, not just your eyes.
Okay, and this will work on both Android as well as the iPhones, right? iOS.
No, it only works. The face sign method only works on iOS because UIDI has a RD service app that needs to be used for this, and that is only available on the Android Play Store.
All right, so I understand all these verifications have to be only through systems that are approved by UIDAI.
That is correct. Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, we do have a couple of more questions, but we'll take them right after the FaceTime demo because Siddhant is ready with the FaceTime, which is the showstopper for this particular webinar. So over to you, Siddhant. Now.
Sure. I'll just screen share. So I have already created a e-signing link which has face sign enabled, and we have it ready for use in our Android phone. So I'm going to do this journey using the Leegality helper app, right? So for this, as a prerequisite, you need two things. You need an Android smartphone and you need two apps which you can download from the Android Play Store. One is the Leegality Helper app, where the signing happens, which is the one app that is open right now, where you are seeing my document being previewed. And the other app you need is UIDI's Face RD Service app that is also available from the Play Store, right? So, in terms of visualizing the customer's journey here, the customer would have performed all the pre-signing steps on your mobile application, right? They've done KYC, they've done payments, they're ready to complete the journey with e-signing. What you'll do is programmatically then redirect the customer to this particular app and open up the signing journey. Right. So this is the first e-signing screen that the customer will see. They won't have to manually open the app that we are seeing. They can view the document preview here. This is the first step. And then they can proceed. There is an authentication step here. This can also be skipped depending on the configurations that you have set in your workflow. And once you've done that, you will see that there is a authentication option called face authentication here. So the user can select this option and then proceed to e-sign. They'll have to consent to be redirected to NSDL for this purpose. Okay, so we've been redirected to NSDL or Protean's website. And here they get a certain set of terms and conditions that they can read through, give consent, and then they have to enter their Aadhaar number. Once they enter their Aadhaar number, they have to click this consent box, agreeing that they've read all the terms and conditions, and then click on capture face details. Now, when you click on capture face details, you will need to select your RD service, and then you're ready to e-sign. So as you can see, there is the face authentication that is happening. And there are some checks inbuilt by UIDI to make sure that there is liveliness to ensure liveliness of the users, right? So that you are not impersonating somebody else, and you're required to blink as well. Okay, so it's asking me to do this again. Just bear with me. It's asking me to blink. Seems that it's facing some issues. Let's give it another shot. Let me quickly give a wipe to my camera. Okay. Okay, so that's done successfully. I had to blink a couple of times as well. I'm getting a success message here, and I can submit. And that's it. E-signing is now complete. Right. So as you can see, the process does not require any specific hardware. You don't need to purchase separate biometric devices. A regular Android smartphone would work. And liveliness checks are inbuilt, quality checks are inbuilt to ensure that the face capture is happening with adequate light, and the user is prompted to blink as well to prevent impersonation. So that's just a quick demo of Aadhaar face sign. Cool. I'm going to stop screen sharing now and back to you, Subhash.
Thanks a lot, Siddhant. That was finally we managed to show how FaceTime works. So, like currently, FaceTime, as you might have seen, the easiest way to do Aadhaar sign in India. You don't need any additional device. You don't need mobile to be linked to your Aadhaar. All you need is one Android phone and two apps. That is it. So, with that, we've come to the end of this particular session of Freshly Baked at Legality, and I would now like to take up the rest of the questions that we've received. So we have one question from Nakul. What is the reason behind ESP errors? Nakul, I'm going to give you mic access because we want to understand what you mean by this question a bit more. They probably will have to answer you. Yeah, I've given you answers, Nakul.
Hi, Rishit. I guess I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Sometimes when we proceed with the e-sign, then we face the issue that it shows the ESP error. So I've seen your uh, the presentation, like you have shown that you will try to remove that ESP error. So what could be the reason behind that, that why we are facing that ESP error?
So, can you help us understand which kind of error do you regularly face?
It shows there is some kind of ESP error. I cannot exactly send you that. Wait, just wait.
Sure.
Okay, while Nakul, you look for the ESP error that you've been facing, I'll just take up.
Subesh, just anyway, in the
Yes, yes.
meantime,
It shows
huh,
me error while signing document. A message from ESP invalid something, or number of retry attempt exhausted. Sometimes it does not give me a proper error and shows that message from ESP there is error. So
sure.
what could be the reason behind that?
Sure. So, from what you told us, there are two possible reasons.
Hmm.
Number one is retry attempts exhausted. Now,
Okay.
this is an error that is definitely avoidable. In legality, you have the option to configure the number of retry attempts that you allow for your signers, right,
Hmm.
as a security measure. So,
Hmm.
in case you have configured a certain number of retry attempts, once those number of retry attempts are exhausted, if the user tries to sign again, they will face an error saying retry attempts exhausted, and the signer will not be able to sign thereafter, and the invitation will get expired, right? So
Okay.
if you are facing that error very frequently, I would suggest either increase the number of retry attempts that you have configured in your workflow.
Okay.
This should not involve any changes at your integration end. You can just change it from the dashboard. Or
Yes, yes.
alternatively,
Okay.
you can remove the number of retry attempts altogether and have unlimited retry attempts, right? We don't impose any limitation here. So you can have as high a number as possible, right? That's specific to that particular error. However, it is true that from time to time, especially if you're operating at scale, you will face ESP errors. These errors could be due to various reasons, ranging from a downtime at UIDI to just some issue with that specific ESP, just a network issue or any other issue,
Hmm.
right? So in those cases, there's nothing much that can be done other than just allowing customers to retry through other ESPs or through other e-sign types if that is something that you are comfortable doing, right?
Okay.
So the way we have designed the product is that you can always get customers to be redirected to other ESPs if issues are being faced. As Anshul was highlighting earlier, we
Yes.
have a smart routing system, so we constantly monitor these error rates. And if error rates for a specific ESP are going too high, then we will deprioritize it or completely remove it from the stack, so that your signers get redirected to the ESPs with the highest success rates, right? So that is the overall methodology. Of course, some errors are avoidable, which we already discussed, like retry attempts. There could be other errors that are user driven. At times, users will enter an Aadhaar number that is not linked to a mobile or email. That is a very specific error. Or users may be clicking on the cancel button. That could be another error. Or users could be clicking on OTP multiple times or triggering OTP multiple times, which creates an error called OTP flooding, right? So in all of those cases, you'll have to sort of manually educate users a little bit, right? In terms of ensuring that they have the Aadhaar number handy, or that they are not clicking on the OTP button too many times. But yeah, to the extent possible, the idea is that we try to optimize it so that the experience is as smooth as possible.
We hope, Nakul, that answers your question. Cool. I guess
Nakul,
we.
as an immediate next step, I would recommend that you get in touch with your customer success executive and get them to change the number of retry attempts at least. I think at least for one category of errors, that should result in an optimization immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Siddhant, that I can do it myself. No need to get in touch with the customer service officer. Okay.
Great. Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nakul. And then we just have one more question, which a couple of people have asked. Siddhant, do you have any visibility on whether FaceTime will be available on iOS or not?
There is no visibility on that right now, unfortunately, because it's still relatively early days for Aadhaar FaceTime. And the expectation in the market is that most signing happens on Android smartphones, which is either agent or branch driven or directly driven by users. Uh, so we don't expect that this will be rolled out to iOS anytime soon, and there are no concrete plans yet. But I guess after it's demonstrated a level of success in the market, that is when it will be expanded to iOS.
Okay, perfect. Then I guess we have one more question from Yogesh. Is it available in Sandbox? Yogesh, which feature are you talking about? Wait, I'll just quickly. Yeah, just to talk. Yeah, I've given you answers to talk, so you can just ask your
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So I was talking about the face e-sign. So we want to get it tested, like we want to test it out internally and display the use case to business. So we wanted to see if it is available on Sandbox.
Yeah, it is very much available on Sandbox as well as production. So just message your customer success executive, and we will enable it for your Sandbox account, and they can give you a demo to set it up as well.
Sure, sure. Thanks. That helps.
Okay, we'll just wait for a couple of more minutes in case someone
No, no.
has any more questions.
Shubhesh, there's a three-part question from Anirudh Basak. Siddhant, will you take these? The first question is, when will we move from Verasis to CDSL as a backup ESP?
Okay, so is this about OTP authentication? If yes, then we have already moved to CDSL as a backup. So it already gets redirected to CDSL only for a backup flow. Um, so that's already done. And I think biometric is also in integration stage. So that should also be available uh, around a month's time from now as a backup.
Right. And then his second question was, is FaceTime not supported for iOS? I think, Siddhant, you already spoke about the fact that right now there's no visibility on when this will be launched on iOS.
Yeah.
The third and last question is, how stable is FaceTime currently? Nakul also asked a similar question. What would be the success rate of FaceTime?
Right. So the feature is already deployed at scale with microfinance institutions. The success rate is good as far as we've seen so far. So we've not seen specific challenges as yet, especially in the Android environment. So we are confident that you can start deploying it, and you can do your own POCs as well, expose it to a limited set of users, and then gradually scale it as per your comfort.
Okay, so we'll just wait for a couple of minutes more in case someone has any questions. And while we wait, Siddhant and Anshu, would you guys like to add anything or share with our larger group that we have on this call today? Any new features that you're quite excited about that we will be showcasing in future editions or anything?
Sure. So I think one thing that we'd like to highlight to the audience here is that we have a new feature coming out real soon, which is the ability to customize the uh, ESP page as well. So when you go to eSign on NSDL's page, we can sort of custom brand that page also. So we can display your logo there. The banner on top can carry your brand's colors. The buttons that are there can also be branded with your colors. So that capability is almost ready to be rolled out on production, and you can already do sandbox testing. So in case that's of interest to you, do reach out to us, and we can set it up for you on sandbox.
Awesome. We got one more question. Will this webinar be available on YouTube channel to view later? Yes, this webinar will definitely be available on our YouTube channel. We will also be sharing a recording of this webinar in the next 24 to 48 hours with you on your emails, along with the deck and some relevant resources for the features that we've showcased today. So I guess with that, we can close this webinar. Thanks a lot everyone for joining this first edition. We're quite excited to do this next month and show you more features from Leegality. And I would also like to thank Supriya, Anshul, Siddhant, and Ansha for taking their time out and showcasing all of these features to us today. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you. Bye.